Hello everyone, this is Veronica. I am going to be doing a video or tutorial in memory of Wendy. And I just want to give you a short story of how I have come to, not personally or in person I should say, met Wendy, but I was in the process of dealing with someone that I needed to make a decision on whether I wanted to go forward with a business proposal. And I decided at that point I would get in touch with Wendy, and because I knew that she had dealt with this particular person as well. So I wanted to make sure that, I could make the right decision, hopefully, with that conversation. So I ended up emailing her and then finally saying that I think it would be better if we spoke in person, because I think, sometimes email or text or whatever ends up getting too long. And so we decided to speak together on the phone, and we spoke for probably a little more than an hour. And she was very, very helpful and let me know her experience. And so in any case, I had made my decision based on, getting all that information together. But she was very helpful. And I knew that I could reach out to her because I also am a believer in our Savior, Jesus. And to see that there are people who have a creative side to them that are also believers in our Lord and Savior. It was just amazing to me. So I just wanted to see what kind of, stuff that she had. So I would continue to watch her videos. And so today I want to do something in memory of her, because I know one of the things that I love the beach. I love the sun. I love summer. And yes, I know in Florida it gets, very humid. But even here on the East Coast where I am, does get humid. We just can't keep running to the beaches all the time, though. So I just figured one day I would have loved to have gone down there. In fact, I was saving up to go to Florida. And I figured once I made that decision, I was planning to reach out to Wendy to see if we can all get together. And I still hope at this point that even though Wendy is not here with us in body, she is definitely here with us in spirit. And if there at any point that some of us can gather together to share our creativity, even in person, I think would be amazing. There is nothing more precious than being around, other people, to be able to hug them and see their smile and hear their voice, and not just over a video or some video chat. So maybe that'll be something we can all think about one day. And that is, to keep, not only to keep her memory alive, but to live in the Spirit. We are told that to live is Christ. So if we are to live with what God gave us as gifts, that we are to honor Him in those ways. And most importantly is because of our spirit. So what manifests out of that spirit is that which we honor God with. So today I wanted to do a couple of bracelets here. As you can see, I have, most of these are from Bargain Bead Box. There's just a couple of things that I took out of my stash. So not just Bargain Bead Box, but the sister store, the Bead Box Bargains. So with the July, we had this. It was an 18 karat gold plated brass leaf toggle clasp. So I am going to use that. And I'm going to be doing a dangle bracelet. And it's not going to be cha-cha style. It's just going to have these few things that I have chosen to put on here as these beautiful enameled shell with the pearl in them. And I have some 3mm or 3.5mm rounds here that are faceted in the coral color. These here are, these are the mother of pearl. They also had come in one of the bargain bead box at some point in the past. And as you can see, it's got that nice mother of pearl. And that is 100%, that is not glass. And I'm going to be using some 4mm jump rings. And that is going to be for one. This is the stainless steel. Oh no, I think I lost it. Anyway, oh, here it is. This is also came in the bargain bead box for July. 4x3 stainless steel curved chain, gold, and this came in a meter. So I cut about 6.5 inches. You're going to need some ball head pins. Now I know if some of you don't get the bargain bead box, or you don't have these particular items, you can still look at the technique that I will be using in here, and you can bring out your own little charms, or dangles I should say, and put them together. And so this is a 4x3, so if you have any other size in your chain, obviously you're going to have to use you know, whatever style you have in order to place your charms so that they are evenly placed along the chain itself. And so, and I'm sure a lot of you who are doing jewelry, or if you're new to jewelry and you have subscribed to Wendy's channel, she has a lot of information, so you can still go and look back at all of her other videos. And this is just something that I think that we all know in our jewelry making, and the techniques that she may do to make a loop may be slightly different in the way she handles her tools than I do, and or other people that may have now uploaded their videos, or Chris had uploaded videos from them in Memory of Wendy. So there are certain ways. It is a matter of how you hold your tools and what is comfortable for you. So and again, here is some head pins. You'll need some of those because we will be making separate dangles. These here are very, very easy. We're just going to add a jump ring to them. So for this one over here, I know Wendy loves to do the memory wire. So I am going to use, you know, my memory wire here, and the coconut. This also came in a bargain bead box, and so I loved them so much I ended up grabbing a few more from the sister site once we got our coupon to be able to get that discount, that 30% discount. And also here, this had come in a previous bargain bead box. These were absolutely gorgeous. I think it was, in fact, I think it was my favorite bargain bead box because I love the beach so much. And these again are the mother of pearl, as you can see. And these are a rondelle, or maybe even you can consider it, it's more of a very flat rondelle. But those are absolutely gorgeous, and they have this beautiful pink color to them, a very slight pink, and they just all remind me of the colors of the beach, and just of course the style. So let me get everything together here, and I will start showing you how we're going to make the dangles here, because of course these will be easy to get on the chain, and we'll do our count as to how many we should put in between. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so before we begin, I would like to do encouraging word or inspiring words for the day. I'll probably have one for the end of the video as well. And this one here is from 1 Peter 4:10. Each one should use whatever gift he has received to serve others, faithfully administering God's grace in its various forms. All right, so here we have, I absolutely love the Word of God. I have to tell you, that just makes me so happy. And the promises that he said that his word would bring us joy and peace and comfort and just amazing treasures that are just fulfill the spirit is absolutely true. So with the tools that you'll need today, for what I'm going to be using for these projects are here. I do want to let you know, I am going to show you, if you don't have ball head pins, I will show you a way to make your own little head pins, I suppose, if you are new and you have not designed one yourself or have had the experience of learning from others regarding any head pins, instead of having a loop at the end of a dangle, which to me is not as attractive as just having something very tiny, or in the way that I'll show you in a second. But today you'll need your flush cutters. You will need your round nose pliers. I have bent nose pliers here, so if you have chain nose pliers, that's fine. These are my needle nose or tweezer nose pliers. And definitely, because this is stainless steel that has 18 karat gold over the stainless steel, if you are going to cut this, do not use your flush cutters or any other wire cutters that you have. You absolutely need memory wire cutters, and of course we will be working with memory wire in the other project, so definitely get yourself a set of wire cutters that will cut through stainless steel. These are only good enough for little softer things like cutting off of a spool of designer wire. Okay, so here is my chain. So I already connected this end clasp here, and when I finished measuring this came out to about 7¼ inches. Let me just grab my ruler so I can show you. This is about the average size for the average person, the average woman that wants to wear a bracelet. Let me see if I can get this out. I don't know what happened to my other one, because I had to move so many of my things to rearrange, because the other projects that I do, I make my own soap and lotions for the body, the face, creams as well. So I had to rearrange things to get those products in a place where I can access them easier. Sorry about the lighting here, but as you can see here, when we add the jump ring to that clasp is going to come almost to the center. So you go to the center of the round part of your clasp, and then you measure it. So as you can see, the total measurement, it's going to be just about 7 to a little over 7 inches. And so that's about the standard for women. If you need it longer, obviously make your chain longer, add a few more dangles. Okay, so what I have done is I counted the links here, and I have 52, so the dead center would be 26. So I'm going to place, I've already decided how I'm going to lay these out. Okay, and it's going to be like this. But in between these are going to be the dangles and that I'm going to make with the little beads here. So in between, are going to lay just like that. So in between each one of these, I'm going to put one of these, but I also have ones that I'm making just with the coral color. Okay, so I hope that you can see that a little bit better. I'll bring that closer. I think that looks really cute. Let's bring that back out. Okay, let me just arrange this here. All right, so I'm going to show you how to make the wire wrap loop for this, and then I'll also show you how to do one where you can make your own if you don't have the ball head pins. So we are going to take that, I'm going to leave that there so I can keep it in. So I have another one here. So you're basically just going to take your round nose pliers here, and you don't need to be up here. You don't need a million wraps. You just need enough where it keeps this nice and dainty. Sorry about the lighting. It's very cloudy out, so I don't have the assistance of the sun as well as my own lighting. So hopefully this will come through clear for you. Okay, so you can just go to the end of that. You're going to bend that back, and you're just going to come up, and you're going to bring this around. Shift your nose pliers to the top so that you can finish taking that wire around. And you can actually take this and just shimmy it up just a wee bit. Okay, so from here you take either your chain nose pliers, your bent nose pliers, or your tweezer nose pliers, and this is where you're going to hold this right on that loop. Okay, and see that space? That's where you're going to wrap to complete that and cover that down to the bead. So this is where you can take your other tweezer nose pliers, chain nose pliers, or anything else that you might have, and then bring it around and get a nice wrap. Okay. And you don't need to do it too tight. These are tiny enough. You can straighten that out. Okay. And then you're going to bring in your flush cutters and come in and just snip that right off. Make sure you hold on to that so that you don't get that flying in your eye. And as you can see, some of it's still sticking out. And you take your tweezer nose pliers or your the thin end of your bent nose pliers if you need something a little bit more narrower on the end. And then just squeeze that in there so that it's not sticking out, and just double check. Okay, so now we have one. So now we can put that in the center. We'll do this one because it's going to be kind of every other one. I did one that is going to be, so it's going to kind of look like that, like that. So every other one is going to have one, and then two of the beads here, one of the beads, two of the beads, and one of the beads there. All right, so we'll go ahead and I'm going to show you again how to do that, and we'll do it on the smaller one, the one with the single bead. So let me just get my tools. They tend to overlap when I put them over there, so I have to dig through them again. So again, you'll have just the one, and I said this is the it's like a 3.5 millimeter round. You can see how it sparkles. It's really pretty. So again, just take that, bend that back so it looks like that. Then you're going to shift that up and then bring your wire around, shimmy it back up, and complete your circle around. And then you can just hold on to that if you want, and then just shift that a little. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and hold that end right there. Give it a nice... Now this is brass, so it's pretty tough when it comes to being able to grip onto this pretty good without marring it. It's the copper that is a little bit, is something you want to be a little bit more delicate with. And in that case, you probably want to, of course, not grip so tight when you're doing your wraps. And also you can use protective, I would suggest using even painter's tape that you can just wrap around these, around your pliers, so that you can actually put a harder grip without marring your wires. Okay, I think I'm gonna give that one last squeeze, or one last pull forward. Okay. I know it's a little blurry because the camera wants to focus on the background now. I can't decide sometimes. Again, make sure you hold on to it so it won't fly in your eye. You should, if you feel like you need to wear eye protection, I say go for it, because these tiny pieces can fly around. And you're going to come in This is so tiny that it's actually hard to get in here and close that up, but I got it. There you go. Look at how tiny that is. Very tiny. All right, so that one's going to go here. So I hope that helps. If you need me to do another one, not that you can answer me right now, but but yeah, so what I'm going to do is finish that off. If you need to rewind the video, I think that's the best way to do it, to see how to make those loops again. So I'm going to make one for in between, and then we can start connecting them to the chain. All right, so I will be back. All right, everyone, so what I'm going to do before we begin, or before I just do the connecting of these dangles, I did want to show you how to make your own little head pin. And it's very simple, and I know it doesn't have to be anything fancy. See, for me, I like for my beads to be the showcase, and doesn't always have to be some fancy head pin or ball pin. So if you are in a jam, or you're somebody who does not have ball head pins and you want to do this project, I'm going to show you how to do that. So whatever color scheme that you're using, if you're using silver tone or gold tone and you have your copper wire, just go ahead and do that. And so just for example's sake here, you can make whatever size you need and length that you need. So what you're going to do is take your flush cutters and flush cut. You don't need to take off that much. I'm just taking off that end that I had already made. And, you know, have it flush cut. And then you can take your, whatever, your needle nose pliers, your round nose pliers. I mean, not your round nose pliers, your chain nose or your bent nose. And you're basically just going to put it in, depending on the size of the bead. And the one that I had showed you, this is an 8mm. This is a carnelian. It's faceted. It's a gemstone, so it's gorgeous. I love it. So just for that, you can make the adjustment as to the size, and certainly the hole size itself will determine your size wire. This is a 20 gauge. So if you have a very, very tiny hole, as a lot of the pearls, if you get real pearls, freshwater pearls and stuff, those holes are tinier, so you're probably going to go with something much smaller. And usually in the case of a pearl, like the freshwater pearls, you might end up with being able to perhaps get a 22 gauge through, but a 26 gauge will fit fine. And in that case, you can probably make a little rosette for your head pin. And, you know, there's plenty of videos out there that might be able to show you how to do that. The 26 gauge and even possibly the 22 gauge are great for making a little rosette for your own little head pin at the bottom. It kind of looks like a little knot. We call it a rosette. But those are good for things with a much smaller hole. But your average bead, you can take a 20 gauge, even an 18 gauge, and you might want to go about 1/8 of an inch. And again, that depends on the size of the bead. And for this 8mm, I'm going to do about 1/8 of an inch. And you're just going to come down and give it a nice squeeze. So what you want to do is flatten that. So as you can see, it's flattened. So it almost looks like a little paddle. Okay. And you can go ahead and, as you can see, sometimes the end will have a little burr on it. You can go ahead and try to trim that off again. And then go ahead and take a nail file, sandpaper, grit, and you can go ahead and make that so that there's no burrs at the end and it's not sharp but nice and smooth. Okay, now from that point you can go ahead and you could put that back in there where you had flattened it, and then you want to take it and go past a 90 degree to bend it. And the reason for that is because it's a round bead, so you want to have it so it conforms to the bead. Okay, you want the end to be conformed to it, so just make sure that this is still straight. Okay, and then you're going to take that and put your bead on. It's having butterfingers today. And you can see it's small enough, it's not an eyesore, it's not in the way, and you'll be able to showcase that bead without having a big knot at the end if that is not what you desire. But again, if you're in a pinch, this is great. So if you feel like it's still not flat enough against that bead, you could put it on a hard surface and just be careful and just roll it so that it conforms to the shape of the bead. Okay, that's the reason why you want to go past the 90 degree on your bend, even go further as a 44. So it'll make it easier, so you won't have to press so hard if you had just kept it at a 90 degree, because you don't want to break your bead, you don't want to crack anything, your gemstone or anything like that. All right, so now we can just get back to the bracelet. And if you do not have your ball head pins, you can go ahead and make yourself a few of those to do those wraps that I had showed you how to do. So I had already done most of these on here. So what I would like to do, just for sake of people who are new and are new to jewelry, not necessarily to Wendy's channel, but new to jewelry and jewelry making. So I can show you how, real quickly, that we open up a jump ring and connect any of our components, our dangles, our charms, whatever it is that you have that you want to connect to a chain or ear loop, and things like that. Okay, so we are now here. As you can see, I think this is so pretty. I cannot wait to actually put it on. I'm so excited. So as you can see, I've spaced it out where I've started off in the center. I went 6 spaces out to start the row here, and then I'm now going to be completing the row on this side. So, and then I will be completing in the center here, just like these, this dangle, these are in between. And those will be this one and this one. All right, so because I've gone 6 out, so we're going to go ahead and count again 6 from the end. Or not from the end, sorry, from here. So we do not count the loop that it's in, okay? And I know that may be hard to see. Okay, so we see that it is on, sorry about that. This lighting, I don't know what it is. It's usually so bright. And not this yellowy tint that's going on in this camera. It's like it has a mind of its own. Now, of course, I have to try to get this. All right, so let's try that again. So we do not count the one that's in. So we're going to go to the next one. Wow. It's really giving me a heck of a time here. All right, let's try that again. Lay it out as flat as you can. Let me come in. Okay, so we're going to go. Not that one, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it's going to be the second to last one. It's not going to be exactly even on each side because there was an extra link over here. That's just the way it worked out, going from the center at the 26th link. So we're going to go ahead and put our open up the jump ring. I hope that's going to clear up. All right, this is not going to, let me get this out of the camera. The camera wants to focus on the stuff in the background, which is strange because it should be foreground that it focuses on. So we're going to go ahead and open that up so it's side to side, not outward. We're going to go ahead and put the dangle or the charm on there and go back to your chain and place it where you need to place it. That is going to be right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then take my tools and go ahead and close that up. And you'll see as long as they come connected. And I do have to say that if you are going to get into jewelry making and you're serious about it, it is best that you find get better quality stuff at some point. If you want to just practice, yes, then you can get away with doing less expensive jump rings and chains and things like that, and it's great to practice with. But I do have to tell you, because metals, no matter how many or you know, whether they're protected by some sort of enamel, they will tarnish, and it's not always easy. And so usually what I do is I do have a sealant that I do use for mine, because I know that I can't just go out and buy gold and silver. That's just not possible. And so when you have metals that you're using, and if they are not already a good quality sealant on them, as in these enameled ones here, then you have to, you know, try to find a way to seal it yourself. And if you do plan on selling your stuff, it'll be absolutely worth it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on here. Again, let me show you with the jump ring. I'll show you this last one, and then we will go ahead and get into the memory wire, which should be fairly easy. I mean, that is so easy. It's the ends of the memory wire that might give people a, you know, a problem. So from here, I'm just going to count 3 out. Wait, which one am I taking? Okay. So in between here, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to go to like the 3rd one here. Make sure I put my dangle on. And then go to the middle. And again, close it up. And I'm going to go ahead and finish the end off with the clasp. Same thing, take the jump ring and do it on the last link. I'm going to finish that off and I'll be back to show you that, and we'll start the next project, okay? All right, everyone, so here it is. It is finished, and now I want to put it on and see how it fits. It is, look at how pretty that is. Oh my, look at that. And they're so well made. See how pretty that is? I just love purple. Of course, is my favorite color. Any of these beautiful, I don't know, and teal, oh, it like goes with anything. So amazing. So let's go ahead and try that on. And look at that, it goes right through. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? That is so cute. So yeah, it'll just dangle down. They all facing the same way, which is nice. So yeah, if you find one that's not facing the right way, you know, just take a look at it and, you know, flip it around if you need to. But there it is. That is so pretty. Okay. So I think I'm going to leave that on while we do the other one. But look at how pretty that is. Why is this so blurry all of a sudden? Yeah, this is weird. Needs to focus. Okay. So let me get the other stuff together and I'll be right back. All right, we're back for the second bracelet, and to me this is just so fun. I love these. These are actual coconut beads. They are from the coconut, so you can see that they're very organic looking. So this is kind of that theme that I like. Now you can use silver or gold. I think gold would look better. But I have in my memory wire, I don't have the thin wire. I actually have the gold, which is flat and wide. And it may, some of these beads may not fully go on to that particular memory wire. So I figured I'll just stay with this. If you do have gold, that's great. And if you do have these particular beads, that would be terrific. So with the one of the little dangles that I made here, I have the head pin here. Now again, if you don't have any of these, you can make your own. And the reason why I'm using not a ball head pin is because it is silver and you can't see it as much with the ball hanging out at the end. So I just, again, I love to showcase my beads and or my component more than the wire itself. So I already made that, and that is with the mother of pearl rondelles, and I will be showing you how I do this one, because this here, as you can see, the bead goes through the top, so it's a Bracelet or Bracelet, as some might pronounce it, and I will show you how I do that, and I'll make a dangle with that as well. So with this particular design, you don't have to. You can use your round nose pliers or your bail making pliers and use the smallest one to make your loop. These are very, very strong. It'll help you to make your loop even, nice and even, that perhaps you might have, that you might struggle with your round nose pliers. What I did was I took some E6000 and I took one of those mother of pearl beads here of the tan and that opaque color here, and I just dipped my end into the glue and gave it a nice little chunk in there, and then put the bead on there right to the edge, as you can see. So that's going to be the bead stopper on that end, and of course it'll take a good 24 hours for it to fully dry and cure, but for now it's already been sitting here for quite some time. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the putting on the beads, and you can make this as many loops as you want. I'm just going to take it with the 3 that I have here, and we'll go ahead and start. So the design that I wanted to start with is, let me move those over there, is the coconut beads, but I'm going to start with putting on the bead cap. So we want to have one facing this way, okay, as it goes down towards the end of the bead, because I'm going to put in 5 coconut beads and then end that with the other end cap, and then we're going to go ahead and place these in between them and see what it looks like. So we're going to go ahead with that, and we're going to add 5 of the coconut beads. Oops. All right. It's 3, 4, and 5, and they are random in the size. As you can see, some are thicker than others, but this is what makes it so beautiful and so organic, just like a coconut shell is. Okay, now I'm going to put the bead cap on the other way, and so it's like making its own little component there. Then I'm going to go ahead and put one of these on. This is the pink mother of pearl. I just look at how pretty that is, that shiny. So pretty. Okay, and then add another bead cap. And we're going to keep doing this until we fill it all up. And because I started with this bead as the end cap, or the end of the memory wire, the other end I will do a loop, and we'll get into that once we get there, so that I can hang those dangles that we will be making. So we're going to go ahead with 5 more. 2, 3, 4, and 5. The end cap, one of the pinks, shell, and then flip that the other way, because you're going to start your next 5 beads. So I hope you can see that is the pattern. Okay. Oops. I'm going to do one more and then I will finish it off so that we can get to the end and show you how I do a bracelet dangle or component. How many is there? 4 and 5. Now, having these irregular sizes like that is perfect for, you know, a memory wire bracelet, because you're just filling them in. You don't there's no measurement. You just go until you can fill almost all parts until you have enough where you can, you know, make your end in that loop at the end and finish it off. Okay, so we're going to go from, see where we're at. I want to make sure I have all. Oh my goodness. Let's get them to the end. That might make sense if we can do that. Okay, so now we have to put a cap on since we don't have one here. So always double check your work too, just so you don't have to take it all apart. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this till the end, and I'll show you how to end it off. I'll be right back. All right, so I've got this all done to the amount of bead caps that I had. So I went and completed and finished all the bead caps. That's all I had. So it's still good enough to get around, you know, for 2 full times, which is nice. So at this point now, I'm going to take the wire cutters, the memory wire cutters that I have, and I want to cut off enough where I can make a decent loop, and that is where then we will put our dangles, and I will show you how to get that done here. So you can leave, let's see, you can always clip some more off, but always don't cut it too short. Know your tools. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut a little off. If I need to cut a little bit more off, I will. So I would say about a 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that there. See how nice that cuts when you have the right cutter for your memory wire. So I'm going to go ahead and make a loop. Make sure everything is pushed back gently, not too tight. I want to try to hold that in place and make, and I am going to use sorry about that. I got all my tools everywhere. So this one is the small end here, as you can see. So because these are nice and strong, it'll help you with your memory wire making that loop. So I want to come in and I want to make sure that it goes pretty much flush so that it's not poking out like that. You want to bring it down and go ahead and gently turn. Some wires are a little bit harder than others. So just take your time and get in there and make that turn. Now I've made it to the size that I want, so I'm going to finish it off with this so I can see better. I'm going to bring it into here so I have the size that I'm looking for. Just, it takes patience, so be patient with your, you know, with yourself. let me get that all back on there. Okay, so I had to do both ends with the loop because this was not dry enough to stay on there. So it did come off, but that's part of jewelry making. You know, when you try to do something and it doesn't work out the way you want it to, you just have to adjust, use your creativity to go ahead and make those changes. So on this end was the end that I was showing you the loop, and the other one, this side, fell off. So I had to do a loop here. So as you can see here, I made it so that the loop is even, you know, in here. And it's, if you notice, this side is still in that loops before I bring it back to the upright position. So I just went in and made that. So now you can go in the other way, put your round nose pliers down at that corner and just do a twist upward. So now you'll have your loop to be even, and then you can hang your dangles from here and make sure they're nice and closed. And we'll go ahead and make our dangles. So there's one already made, so you've been following the video, so you know how to make those. With this one here, with the Bracelet, I have, this is a 20 gauge copper wire in the silver tone. Okay, let me move that out of the way, and one of these days I'll make a bracelet and make sure I wait till that dries before I end up putting more beads on. So in this here, this is the bracelet. So you want to take your wire and put it through like that. So you want to come down about a third of the way. So you'll have 2/3 left here. Okay. And you just want to go ahead and you're going to bring it up and just gently bend it so that it kind of goes along the same angle as the bead, as the top of the bead. Okay, you can do the same thing here. So it'll look like you get this little triangle here. Okay, you can make it as big or as small as you need to. Okay. And then I take the long one, let me flip it over, and I'm going to go right at that where it crosses. I'm going to take that and bend that up 90 degrees. Okay, and then you could take the other one, right, same thing, and just bring it down, because you know you're gonna take this and wrap it. You want to wrap it probably 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 times, and the reason for that is because we're gonna go and add this bead to it, because I know making some of these and then having to come down and make a wrap loop with this, it's not always easy to make this end meet this end, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. Okay. So just like you were making your wrap loop, you're going to come in here, you're going to hold on to that. Grab your other pliers, whatever ones you have, and do that's it. One full wrap would be the best here you can do. Take your flush cutters and cut that off right there. You can come in and just gently tap it so that it's not sticking out. Okay. And you can bring this back up where it needs to be. Okay. So you have that. Now what I do is I'll add a bead so that it kind of disguises, you know, when you wrap this, you won't see this messy space in between your wires. So you go ahead and add a bead. Let me just straighten this, make it a little bit more. Okay. All right, so you want that to be the back. Same thing. Now you just do your regular wire wrap loop. Come in, make sure it's down to that bead. Bend that over. Bring that around like that. And then you can bring your wire over and to the side. Shimmy your nose pliers to the top and then shimmy it like that. Now this is where, this is copper wire, so when you are going to finish off your wrap, this is where you want to be gentle enough so that you don't mar up your wires. So unless you don't mind a little marring in your wires for whatever project, that is totally up to you. And we're going to come around and finish off the wraps. Then come in and finish off here. Tuck that in. And you are good to go. And there are the two dangles. Now because you have two sides, you can put two on each side or just one on each side. I'm just going to finish this off with one on each side. And I'll probably play with it later and add some more, but just for technique purposes here, we'll do it that way. All right, so now we can take our jump rings. Now if you wanted to have them all just on one side, you can take one jump ring and then add those two to that jump ring. But since we're putting one on each side, we don't need the larger one. We'll just use the two little ones. Same thing like we did before. Make sure these are open enough. I'm going to loop that on there and put that on there. And one for the other side. Again, you can add as many dangles as you want. That is totally up to you. Make sure that's open a little bit more. All right, and that's just adding a pop of color right there. Get that nice ocean blue color, and it is a shell. This is a check bead shell here. Okay, let's try it on. Oh yes, definitely. It's very nice. It's really pretty. And I don't know if this video is blurry. It's looking blurry to me. I think it might be in certain zoom size. So hopefully not. Let's see. So there you have it. There's your little dangle there of the mother of pearl. Okay, so these are both I'll take this one off so I can put it in display. And there you have both of them. And these are definitely things that I have learned from Wendy, you know, especially doing like the, you know, dangle or charm bracelets. She made it look so easy, or that they are something that isn't just for children, you know, because I see a lot of, you know, little girls would like little dangle bracelets, but when you add the right elements, you can just have such beautiful bracelets. And even in your memory wire. So I would like to end this off with another quote. This one is from Emma Hayes, and I saw this the other day and I just about fell on the floor because it hit my spirit so hard, because it is so true and something that humanity needs now. We all need to come together. So I will end it with this. So with this, she says, geese always support each other. When a goose gets injured, two birds always accompany it to the ground. Just as geese do, we must support each other. And that again is from Emma Hayes. And I just thought, wow, that is God right there. You know, God says that you can see him in his creation. And so if these geese who don't live by reading books to learn things, it is something that has been given to them within, just like we do. We just have to know that now and get in touch with that and know that these things are innate. It is by the very things in this world that keep us from knowing that. And I hope, Chris, that one day that I can meet you and your family and come together with other content creators, people who create their own jewelry. Perhaps we can all come together and do something wonderful, whether it would be something to raise money, to help out in people that are in need. But that would be wonderful. And I hope that, and I pray that one day we can do that and meet even before we go home to the Lord. So everyone, God bless. Thank you so much for your patience. And I hope that these things helped. And again, in memory of Wendy and her great spirit that she had, which was the Holy Spirit that was in her, that was given to her when you accept the Lord Jesus. And it is so much more glorious than any man's spirit. So everyone, thank you so much. God bless. And thank you again. Bye-bye.